The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Yeah, yo, George, we're finishing.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Tuesday, December 12th, and it's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is C.A. Newry, and I shall be your host for today as I do some interrogation. Yesterday, I had a call in, and the caller is from Abaco. He was debating with Aaron. I sat back and let them two exchange ideas and concepts about what is the issue happening in Abaco. And I sit back and say, I can craft a show. I'm going to craft a show and I'm going to give some guidelines on exactly what is it that the conversation should be centered around, right? The theme of today's show is that the problem that the Bahamas faces, or the problem that is in the Bahamas, is Bahamians. I'm trying to get the right verbiage for that. Bahamians is our problem. The Bahamas has a problem, and the problem that what it is the Bahamas is facing is Bahamians. And of course, I know some people will call them back and say, "Oh, you are discriminating against organic indigenous people, natives, right? That I'm anti-natives." But this is a more complex conversation. It needs some intuitiveness. Indeed, we don't need simple people calling today. Oh, Lord have mercy. We need people who can think, who can understand and appreciate the conversation for what it is. Right? And that's why I'm going to give a guideline, some caveats on the conversation. So the best amongst us can be astute to analyze and think before calling and engaging to say the obvious. Because I'm not entertaining the obvious. Because the obvious is what it is. It is what it is. Right? Abaco. We're concentrating on Abaco. So we need some solutions about Abaco, because the conclusion of what is the problem with Abaco is the Abaconians is the problem that Abaco is facing. Case in point. Abaco, at once upon a time, was the third economy of the Bahamas. It was New Providence, Grand Bahama, then Abaco in terms of contribution to the national budget, to the public purse. Right? Then, of course, Grand Bahama faced several hurricanes, and of course, Abaco became the second producer of the national budget. I'm trying to get the right words for this, so forgive me for that. But you understand what I'm saying, right? They had an economy so large, so robust that they had Americans. Investors who had a system, a proliferated system that was the envy of the whole of the Bahamas. They were organized. Anyone in the Bahamas used to envy Abaco because the thinking, the local government there was seemingly working. It was working better than everyone else's, right? Even New Providence said, "Hey, we could learn a thing or two from what Abaco is doing." The owners of their tourism product was owned by Bahamians, white Bahamians. There are some black people there too, who owned their tourism product, right? Abaco was thriving. Then the hurricane came. The hurricane came, and Abaco, who had unemployment perhaps to single digits, 7 7% unemployment, was devastated, right? Where all of the surplus labor, and when I say surplus labor, I'm talking about not authorized labor, labor that is from who didn't have work permits, whatever it is. We get the right wording when Erin comes on. She's a smart one, right? They left New Abaco, come to New Providence for whatever assistance they got from the government, right? Of course, there was an element of criminal activities because of the desperations there from local and from a certain set of people, immigrant people. So we fast forward. We, at one point in time, Abaco immigration situation was corrected, right? We had a count on who all was there. The shanty towns that was there was destroyed. We had a count on the remaining shanty town, which is on a private land, the farm, right? We had about 20 to 30 houses, structures on that property. See, I'm just trying to get that caveat on what all we know, right? So you don't have to come and rehash that. And when you rehash it, I got to press you on pause and hang up and say, call back again. So you come from a different angle because I already rehashed this part. We accepting this as a preamble as some certainty of fact, right? After the Defense Force officers left and police officers left Abaco, there was a mass return of immigrants again because Abaco is going through a rejuvenation, rebirth, development. The persons who own, the people who own the hotels and development needed labor. Abaco has a labor shortage. I have that as a statement of fact. So that means there are not enough Abaconians there to supply the labor. Therefore, they need labor from other places. At one point in time, some of the hotels imported labor from some kind of Mexicans or some sort to come there because there's a labor shortage. Because the immigrant population that is in Abaco are semi-skilled, they are in demand. But the owners of these operations say, man, they ain't paying no one to live no place. They ain't paying no extra work permits if they don't have to. So how these immigrant people find housing, it is what it is. They now swelled the farm area and it moved from the 20 structures that was there initially that we were overlooking and supposed to secure, which we had police whose job is supposed to have secured it. It didn't happen. It now swelled to 200, 300 homes there. We have that as a fact type thing too. So you don't got to rehash that, right? Of course, the government at the time said, okay, we're going to try to deal with it. There was an injunction, right? Said that you can't just bulldoze people's homes without warning, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, there was a court order. Then there's another court order says that you need to give people proper notice. And there's only 5 homes or 3 or 4 or 5 homes that they say you give proper notice. Other than that, leave those 200, 300 extra structures alone. So that's where we are. We don't have to repeat that no more, right? Unless you come with some new information to add to that, right? So my point is I wanted to get that out. We know that what it is. We're talking about advocates and activists on Abaco. I believe, and again, my premise is the problem in the Bahamas is Bahamians, is Bahamians that is causing the problems in the general Bahamas and, of course, Abaco. And we're just concentrating on Abaco today, and then by wider, we're concentrating on the entire Bahamas. That the problems that we're facing, all is being done and perpetrated by Bahamians. It's us who is causing the havoc that is happening inside the Bahamas. It's concentrating on Abaco again. Somebody is hiring immigrants. I ain't immigrants hiring immigrants. And if it's the immigrants who are hiring immigrants, they're hiring to be worked on Bahamian jobs. Then again, it's Bahamians who are the problem. It's someone who's giving electricity in the shanty town. No immigrants own no electricity company. It's someone who providing water and sewage, big trucks, licensing cars, selling plywood, providing labor. It's someone doing it. And I say the person who's doing that is Bahamians. Mind you, there's 1 or 2 immigrants who are subdoing it, meaning that they're hired by Bahamians and then they hire their own fellow men. But the key point is Bahamians at the top. And everything just trickled down. It's Bahamians that is our problem in the Bahamas. In Abaco, there is but one activist, one advocate who is standing up and saying, man, I'm tired of this. That's that gentleman named Kai Mills. He gets his camera and he records. He goes in the face of parliamentarians and challenge and says something got to be done. This ain't right. Now, Kai is uncouth. I don't necessarily tend to herald him. I'm just saying that Abaco people is Abaco problem, right? Long Island. Long Island have foreign investors too, but they don't have no immigrant problem. Why? Because they have different type of people. They don't have Abaco type people in Long Island. When the Long Island people are tired, they tell government point blank, don't come. We ain't want nothing from you. We ain't asking you for nothing. We ain't depending on y'all for nothing. We rather stay poor. We don't want nothing from you all. Abaco people different. They portray their own self. They portray their own self, but won't call the radio stations and say, it's y'all people in Nassau who causing all this combustion in Abaco because y'all allowing all of these things happening. And they say, no, it ain't me. Because I don't hire illegal immigrants. Y'all is do it in Abaco. That was y'all is do it. You know, I don't give no one no free electricity or tie them on to the major electricity line and then charge them electrical bill and have them have no, it's not me. It's y'all. It's y'all who's do that, right? And that's what our conversation today. The responsibility we need to embrace and start saying I am responsible for how this country is running, and this is what I plan to do from now on to fix it. I ain't gonna blame nobody. I ain't gonna blame nobody no more because it's me. I is the problem. So the number today is 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And for your people in Abaco who won't call and who won't blame me in Nassau, you can call too. No, I might hang up on you because this is that type of day. It's 242-300-5720. And don't be talking about the indigenous and organic people today. Because I know you all a set of people. You all like going to blame other people. But it's you all. Erin Green is joining me today. And I can have her yield a little bit more. Because I know she can do some pontificating today. Right? So I can have her, you don't talk yet. You sit right there and think for your pontification part. But let's go straight to the caller there, and then you can respond to the caller. That's your job, Aaron. You can respond. Look at you biting your mouth. But yeah, in you go yet. Go ahead, producer. Patch the caller through. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Well, good morning, Mr. Green. Before you get Mr. Newry, before you get started, what's that? Mention something about the... No
mentioning today. No mentioning today. Be sticking on top. No, don't mind. I cut today. Remember, I start off with that. I giving you the benefit of the doubt. I ain't cut you yet. But you... Don't go ahead. I can you for 30 seconds. No, 30 seconds. 2 seconds to see if I get the cut. Go ahead.
Yeah. They don't ask nobody to help them do no weeding and no farming and things like that. They do their own. So no illegal immigrants could go there and say you need anybody to help weed or farm and this. The fellow like it is. We like Long Island. We can build our own Long Island. We can do our own weeding. We can do our own farming. We like land and everything. I learned that from Mr. Tennyson Wells. When he came to Nassau, he went to school at St. John's. He got himself to be a lawyer. He invested in a lot of land out by Life at Key.
Sparky, let me engage you. You get one piece of land there you've been begging for from God knows when. You ain't do nothing on that land.
Yes,
hold on, Sparky, asking you a question. I want to ask you, Sparky, who you plan to work this land?
No, look here, listen to me, man. I am 72 years. I can't...
You shouldn't have get the land. You should not have get it. You're an old man. Let young people get the land, Sparky. Why you old people won't get land?
I've been trying to get the land from I was 25 years old.
And you get it. You should say, I'm 72. I'm too old for this now.
But guess what? I go rig the land, and I go pass the land down to my children and grandchildren.
This land ain't supposed to be for passing down. That land ain't for that.
No.
You will own our land.
And once you pay your lease and everything like that, your children could keep the land going on. Now, if the government want the land back, whether you young or old, they could get the land back.
I say, Sparky, our government need to take the land from you.
Farm is going to start, and I can feed you bananas and food.
I say our government need to take the land from you because you're not working it. And you can want to hire immigrants from on that land.
7,400 to clear it down. Some people younger than me, theirs ain't cleared out yet.
Them too, got to take those people too.
You know the problem is out there? The access road to get to the farmland, the government has not done that yet. But I already got those attracted out there. My land is cleared, and I'm ready to start putting down trees. As of next week, I can start putting down my mango trees and my trees. And you watch, by next year sometime, I could call you down there, and you could be able to pick avocado, bananas, and mangoes.
Thank you very much, Sparky. I can wait till next week. I can wait till next week to continue talking to you. We ain't gonna talk to you today. We talk about next week when you start planting your bananas and thing. Let's go to the next caller. Go ahead, caller. Oh, that person gone. Now we welcome Aaron Green. I've been beating you long enough. The problem in the Bahamas is Bahamians. That's what I think. That's the thesis statement for us for today. Is we causing all of this havoc that is happening inside the Bahamas because we like to give excuses. We want to get this farmland knowing fully well you're 72 years old and you can't work it. And that you got to hire immigrant labor, the people you don't like, you got to hire them. And then but you want to call and say them people got to go. Welcome, Aaron Green.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I don't know what to say. It seems like it is that type of day. You made some bold statements, but I think as bold as
Statement of facts.
as bold as it was, let's start right there. What you said to Sparky was that is it plausible or viable for a 72-year-old person to manage and operate a piece of crown land for agricultural purposes? I would argue that if they don't have a viable commercial or community-based project in mind, then I'm thinking that you are closer to correct, that it's more likely that a person that is retired with no steady stream of income would have to resort to the cheapest labor available to be able to manage and operate that crown land.
I still have a call you, but I want to ask you a question, Aaron. Mm-hmm. Is there a labor shortage in Abaco and by extension the Bahamas?
Well, obviously, there's no labor shortage in Abaco because people working, jobs are filled.
Until they're begging people to come to Abaco
Right.
and hiring people from abroad.
Right. The question is, are Bahamians able to access those jobs? That's that.
You can go there and get a job, Aaron.
It's like you said, the conversation is more complex than it normally is. I could get on a plane now.
There you go.
I could get on a plane now and go to Abaco. Mm-hmm.
And you can get hired more likely within the hour.
But where will I live?
That's a different question. I ain't talking about that yet. Don't be leading me down the path where I ain't get reached there yet. Wait till I reach there. We ain't talking about housing crisis. We talking about
No,
labor.
I'm not talking about a housing crisis. Just the question is where will I?
I asked
I'm
him,
a
can you
Bahamian.
get a job? That's where we at. Can you get a job right now? You're more likely if you go to Abaco.
Well, this is the question. How many of the jobs available in Abaco are actually not available because those jobs are, per the Memorandum of Understanding or the contractual agreement, those jobs are earmarked for foreign nationals. For instance, a foreign direct investor may, as a part of his contract, be authorized to bring in 500 Mexican or Chinese laborers.
Why are they bringing them in?
They say because the expertise required is not available in country.
And now we have that labor exchange, employment exchange, which will say, hey, we have 200 people here, and they hire those 200 people. But usually, those people, we want them in Nassau, because we short here in Nassau. We don't want them in Abaco. They need to stay here. Let those Abaco people find, let's go to the phone line there. Let those Abaco people find labor. We need those people to stay here in Nassau. Let's go, caller. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Let's have a real conversation, CA. Right? You asked him some really good questions, and he's made a comment, right? I think the Bahamian people have spoken through activists, through talk shows, through demonstrations that there are some problems with our migration problems, illegals. And I think they've done their job. They have voted in. What do we vote governments in to do?
Let me give you an example.
Country,
Let me give you an example, ma'am. When I was going to Njukcha College in the United States, right? When the school who gave me the visa to come there to school, when they was doing folly, we shut the school down. We protest and start breaking up stuff, and the school say we need to change. See, we need to change. When
women
let
saying
me
like
example. Let me finish an example. when I was there when Rodney King was beaten in Los Angeles, I went to Florida. We closed down Florida. Right? We go on the streets. I was in school. I joined those African Americans. and
Listen, you ain't
protest.
know your people then. You ain't know Bahamian.
Now you get back to my point. You get back to my point. Who the problem it is? The problem. The
you know what
problem is
today?
us.
If you want to be real, you know what the problem is in our country. It is enforcement, and it is biasness, right? Using the title of some other things to cover up what is being, when the laws are being broken. We have a ministry of works. We have a ministry of immigration for a purpose, right? If we look at what they are supposed to be doing, the government that the people voted in, I don't care who it is, whoever is in. I'm not talking about this specific government.
I'll ask you this.
Government.
I'll ask you this.
The problem is...
No, let me ask you this. If the government is not doing its job, whose job it is to correct the government?
The people.
There you go. You see the problem. You see the problem.
And hold on. The people, a lot of people have been speaking up. You can't, what you want us to do? Knock them over their head?
No, I can tell you exactly what we could do. What you could do is begin to form political parties of your own.
And that has been happening.
We're not going to resort. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that there are 1,000 things we could do before we resort to
Aaron,
knock them over their head.
Listen to me. The laws are on the books. The laws, and that's why you have Bahamians who are coming out and talking about, they are indigenous. They are speaking out. They are, right? And they are asking the government to correct it and do their jobs. We have a lot of bodies in place. We have local government. You got ministries. You got departments.
Ma'am.
They are being inefficient.
Ma'am, are there any illegal immigrants in Long Island?
I have no idea.
No,
I haven't
there's none.
I really don't know. The data is not there.
And I'm telling you, we have the same people in Long Island that we have in New Providence. I want to know what's the difference.
Now, this only word about CA.
My question is, what's the difference between Long Island and New Providence and Abaco? And
I have no idea. I have heard. Now, this is only word of mouth, but I don't have any facts about it. I've heard that them people don't play. So they bring out their gun, they look at where you going. You ain't coming here. We're not that type of people, and Long Island cannot be compared to the other larger islands.
Hold on, let's stick a pin for a second. What I've been told that Long Island people do is when they see the boats, right, they engage the boats, they give them food and they give them water. They make sure everybody is medically sound.
And tell them continue on,
Right, that's what they do. They see, but hold on. Pause for a second. Don't suggest that they bring out the guns and then people know not to do.
When I say guns, I don't mean literally. What I'm talking about is they really address the situation right then and there, right?
Right, but
you can't compare. I think in my opinion, the population of Long Island to say an Abaco.
Why not?
You have a person in the name. Listen. The people have done their jobs here. They're not asking the government. Hold on. Can I say?
Yeah, that's why
they have been exposing. Look at Kai, right? Look at other activists. I can name a few.
Name them.
Okay, you can name them.
Yes, please.
You can name the COI. You can name Kai. You can name Bahamas for Bahamians. These are organizations and others. And the gentleman that comes on your show from Abaco.
The Bahamas for Bahamians.
From Abaco. This is the job of the Bahamian people to inform the government. I know they're listening, right? To do something. There's no rhyme or reason, CA and Aaron, that the illegal buildings or buildings in Abaco should have gotten back to the pre-Dorian state, right? Somebody, Ministry of Works and Ministry of Immigration, they're falling down on their jobs. What else can the people do other than wait for the next election and say, look, y'all get out the way?
Stop right there. I can tell you what the people could do. Let me respond, because there are 1,000 things the people could do before they jump up and throw their hands in the air and say,
people won't jump up and throw their hands in the air.
There's nothing we could do.
There's nothing they can do.
Pause. The first thing that citizens could do is arm themselves with the proper language
And education.
and legal
Legal.
literacy to be able to engage the conversation and the politicians whose behavior you seek to shift, right? One thing we know about politicians, they're not going to do anything until they're forced to do it. Second thing we know about our politicians is they only listen to the courts, and even then barely. So the first thing that we can begin to do is arm ourselves with the right language. We do our engagement a disservice. We do ourselves a disservice when we engage. I don't want to say emotively, because you could be emotive and right. When you engage with incorrect language, right? Yesterday, Mr. Newry tried to make a distinction between illegal communities and irregular communities. That's so very important to know if you're going to speak to your government and attempt to shift culture. Here's the second thing. Anytime a Bahamian says to me, oh, all we could do is wait for 5 years, I will say to you, did you not see Loretta Butler Turner show you how you can use your constitution to shift leadership within the party? The same mechanism can be used to remove a prime minister. But you don't even have to go that far. You have to start a political party. But here's the thing. You can't come to me, a Bahamian, after only 3 years of politicking and say, oh, we tried and nobody listened. And so it's obvious that Bahamians don't care about what we care about. You cannot do anything in 3 years. Not only is it disingenuous, but it's disrespectful for your third parties to keep putting the blame on us, the citizens, that we don't want to vote for change. Why would I vote for you when you have not manifested that you could change? You are repeating the same political model, the same political culture as the other parties. Try working for 10 years. Try holding on for 15 years. Try establishing a politics that resonates with the Bahamian people, as opposed to jumping up for 3 minutes with some water bottles, collecting $17 and saying, oh, the Bahamians don't want change.
What happens when a political party blame the people they're trying to vie or could encourage to vote for them?
That's like when teachers call their students stupid. That's like when teachers bash and make fun of their students' exam results. It's the same thing. It's you, the teacher, that has failed. It's like the parents who say, oh, my child is unruly, there's nothing to be done. You, parent, you failed. Your child is a product of you. Teacher, that bad grade is a product of you. And in the same way, political party, the blame falls on you, not on the people you could not endear to your message.
Goes back to my thesis that the problem in the Bahamas is Bahamians.
Go to the Abaco
We are
part.
falling short of our duty and responsibilities and procuring the information we need to police this Bahamas.
You think you could come to me in Nassau and say Nassau people is the problem in Abaco, but you had a boy who refused to go to the police. He refused to go to the police and say, hey, I heard y'all wanted to talk to me. Then he refused to step down to do the honorable thing and step down. And then he decided he gonna get up in a church and say he is the PM of Abaco. And y'all ain't packed the boy up and sent him to Nassau, but you want to blame me
That's how
in
Abaco
Nassau
people is.
for what's going on in Abaco?
That's how Abaco people is.
No, I'm not saying that's how Abaco people
That's what I
is.
said.
But right, that's not what I'm saying.
That's
right?
what I said. That's how they is.
What I'm saying, Abaco people, 242-300-5720, call in and let us know what you're saying.
They can blame me. They can say, I the problem.
Well, once they ain't blaming me, because
But
I
this-
tell them spoil their ballot. You didn't spoil your ballot, you end up with a Cornish hen. That's all I'm saying.
They like chicken. Let's go to the callers there. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hi, boy, it was also so long. I don't know if this is an open line or we talking about immigration.
We talking about Abaco. We talk about
boy.
Abaco and they
I'm
betraying
not
themselves.
Pardon me?
And them betraying themselves and the responsibility and duty of Bahamians in general.
No, I just come on the conversation and based on my understanding, it's almost as if the government, if they get us feeling we responsible.
See, this, ma'am, we
Pardon me?
understand that the government is lacking. Our goal in this conversation is how do we police them? What is your solution on how do we police the government so they can do their job?
to say how do we fix the situation.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, so you've rightly identified, like the previous caller, that these functions are the responsibility of the government, right? What we're saying at this point is, if you see that your government is either unwilling or unable to fulfill its obligations, what do we, the people, do next?
What can we do, Sarah?
We organize ourselves and start another party,
You
in
said what?
place.
We organize another party?
Yes.
Like what? Like the COI?
No.
They tried that.
No, they didn't try.
They ain't tried. They like
Listen, and I'm not, listen, hold on. I'm not denigrating the COI. Here's what I'm saying. It takes more than 10 years to establish a party. You think Pinlin, hold on, do you think Pinlin is responsible solely for the PLP victory? The victories going into majority rule? You think Pinlin is responsible solely for the 25 years that he held power? That started long before him. In fact, the PLP party was started by Long Island Bay and Acklands Bay, Long Island Bay primarily, well before Pinlin came on the scene. These things take time to develop, and you need real governance issues.
Thank you very much, caller.
To root your party in. Your party will not survive if its primary mandate or philosophy is removing the other parties. That's nothing. That's not a political theory. That's not a political ethos. That's just political opportunism.
Aaron, there are political parties out there, especially these third parties, who believes that we are obligated to support them. They don't try to convince me that they're the better choice, even when they've proven that they're not the better choice. Despite how bad these other two is, you find that you are even far inferior to them.
Yeah.
And then you present yourself to me and I say, no.
Imagine.
It bad. But it ain't that bad yet.
For whatever reason, you gain access to Crown land. For whatever reason, you have access to Crown land. You have the resources to move tractors in and out, people in and out of the Crown land. But you use that opportunity for a press moment, for public relations, as opposed to growing food and starting an actual farming initiative and then distributing food boxes to people to show people on the ground what your party can do with Crown land. I mean, that's all I'm saying is, how can you say that the party has failed if it never got started?
Some people microwave. They want an immediate response.
It takes time. It takes discipline. It takes preparation and preparedness. It takes self-control. It takes imagination and audacity. But most of all, you have to imagine that in 15 years, we still going to be here. In 15 years, we're going to do this thing. But don't think that anybody, I mean, nobody, not the DNA, none of the other parties, I don't even call them third parties, none of the other parties have, except for, I can say this, the Bahamas Constitution Party, right? They have done a lot of work documenting ideas and policies, right? They put them aside. But these other people think that we're just supposed to vote them in because of charisma, and then you don't even have none.
They have no charisma. They ain't convincing me.
I mean, I want you all to understand what it means when Ingram, Christie, Davis could capture, and Davis, you're new to this, could capture the minds of Bahamians with a simple story. My mommy was a nurse and my daddy was a taxi driver, and I drop out of school and I catch sense. And I made myself into a prime minister. These play them capture the whole spirit of the country with those stories. You ain't got no charisma even.
You can't use that. My grandparents were subsistence farmers.
No, that distance is too great. That mean use middle class. And please don't come and say my mommy was a straw vendor.
Especially when you go to private school. But anyway, let's go to the callers there. Go ahead, Cody. Can you hear me?
Hello. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning.
Yeah. I just want to salute you guys for bringing up this topic. The other day, one of your colleagues had an open talk show, and I thought to comment on the fact and the situation what's going on in Abaco and in the whole Bahamas, and then in the immigration problem, right? And he was very dismissive, and I got cut right away. But I say that to say that, like you say, Bahamians is the problem in the Bahamas. And all these guys, whoever is benefiting from these immigrants coming here is like a whole scam or some kind of hidden agenda, and you're not allowed to talk about the situation or bring it to light. And I just want to say, I don't even have to elaborate on what you guys are talking about, but I appreciate you bringing forward the platform to allow people to tell the truth about all the darkness that's going on in this Bahamas. And we need to do something about it as Bahamians, because in 10 years, we won't have a Bahamas. And it won't be any such thing as indigenous or native Bahamian. And so I just appreciate y'all for having this topic on today.
I want you to listen to this. Watch this. First of all, I don't believe in indigenous Bahamians or native Bahamians. That's just me. There's no such thing. This is an impossible definition. But I want to ask you this, Aaron. Let's say tomorrow we eradicate Abaco, since we concentrate on Abaco, first of all, Abaco of all of its immigrants. What would happen to that economy?
It'll collapse.
You said if we, by tomorrow, I eradicate, just gut all, straight across, all of the illegal immigrant workers out of Abaco. What would happen there?
The economy will collapse. I'll tell you why, because it will take too long. It will take too long to replace those jobs with skilled Bahamian labor.
And we know there's a shortage of skilled Bahamian laborers in Nassau, so we can't spare it.
I mean, that's another question of
they need to go find their own people.
No, don't work like that.
I pro Nassau.
No, don't work like that.
We pro Nassau first.
No, don't work like that.
No, Nassau first.
No, Nassau is just a city.
Then New Providence, then the whole island. I'll go to the whole island.
No. We are an
Let the Abaco people worry about themselves.
Equal and equitable access. No. And it's an archipelagic exterior. That's even more dangerous. Security-wise, that's even more dangerous.
New Providence first.
No.
No?
In terms of national security, that can't work. You can't let the outer islands go. No, that's your protection. The point is this, though. If we say a day without migrant labor, it would collapse. We cannot see, our problem is the ability to move at the pace required. That's our problem. The ability to move at the pace required. We could not replace those jobs at the pace required to sustain the development.
Abaco has experienced a boom. They have a construction boom. They need more labor.
So when you
twice the amount of labor they have there now, they need now to make Abaco get to the point where they need to get.
So say
they demand more people.
That's just some numbers. They have 1,000 laborers right now. They actually need 2,000. If you remove the 7,500. If you remove the 7,500 migrant workers, you only leave 2,500 Bahamian workers there. But you could only find 2,500 Bahamian workers from across the archipelago to replace the 7,500 migrant workers that you removed. That leaves you with only 500 workers to do the work that actually requires 2,000 people. The economy will collapse. And then what about all the other businesses that are surviving on supporting that FDI, that development infrastructure, the people who are feeding the people who are selling the other necessities like toilet paper and cups and matches and things like that. Those businesses will also collapse.
How come you know this and the people in Abaco people don't know this?
The people in Abaco know that, and they're in a tricky bind, right? They're the ones who are caught between the rock and the hard place. They need the economy to keep growing, although they're concerned about being overwhelmed by the migrants who are pushing the economy forward.
Let's go back to the caller there, right?
It's a rock and a hard place.
Any minute now, we need to find a prime minister of Abaco. That's what we need to find.
Find or fire?
Either or is good for me. Let's go to the caller. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hello. Good morning to Mr. Newry and Ms. Green.
Good morning.
Yeah, so the last call, I would agree with him. And also as it pertains to the same host that he was talking to. And so it just remind the Guardian host, right, that freedom of expression is necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they must keep their visceral BS to themselves. So because, I mean, if that was just a talk show I'd called, you would have made a comment. But you wouldn't have told me that it's all about me and what I've said and what I believe. I'm not a haughty person. I ride a bicycle, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have I have a small carbon footprint. And so what I'm saying is, if I call in talking about a selfish agenda, then you should be careful in what you're saying. But the conversation is fruitless because I'd asked for someone to find out if it's illegal, all right, for the police to arrest me without having an ID. Given the fact that if I give them my name and date of birth and it shows up in the computer, why would you still arrest me? So that is an arbitrary arrest. It was a fruitless conversation, but I'd like to just comment on what you guys are talking about quickly because, Aaron, you yourself said liaison with the Department of Labor, right?
Uh-huh.
And give the statistics before CA Newry made that statement. While I do agree with Mr. Newry because common sense would show you that it would be naive to conceive in our minds that we don't need migrant labor or we could get rid of every Haitian or every migrant here, which is stupidity. Okay? The problem is the lack of housing, right? Which is really brought on by immigration. Also, lack of oversight and lack of control that the government is allowing the people, the migrant community, to come in and do it. So somebody's benefiting from it. And so may remind those who are not in the know or who in the know, because we don't remember everything every time, that I don't know if you remember during the North American Union, the formation of the North American Union, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a peace and prosperity summit. I can't remember if it was in Canada or wherever it was, but Condoleezza Rice was in power then, and she had made a statement. I could pull it up and share it with you, Aaron, in which she said that the security of America lies not at the border, but at the continent as a whole. Hence, Mexico, America, and Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking at the same form of global governance with the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Open borders. And so I don't know why the brother who's come on 2 o'clock seems to think that, for some reason, I think he's jealous of me or he hates me because during the pandemic, I had doctors call me and give me credence for what I was saying on the radio. But why does it have to be about me if I have to give myself credence when the status quo is running a biases against me for speaking the truth on the radio? Then it becomes beyond me. But if I have to big up myself, I don't praise myself, I'm only giving myself credence for what I've said. The brother run out with all type of foolishness. Have a good day.
I got you 52.
I get you 52.
52 made the point about housing. When we get back from the break, right, I want to just very briefly examine the extent to which an unregulated tourism sector is driving the housing crisis on family islands and making access to these jobs virtually impossible for the average Bahamian citizen.
I like that. I see where you're going with that. And again, I conclude that the province of the Bahamas is Bahamians.
Well, I mean, who could be renting Airbnbs but Bahamians?
There you go. Anyway, Guardian Radio AM, it's 11:48. We'll be right back. We'll take a short break and we'll come back and we investigate and interrogating what's the problem here? How we can solve this problem? How do we address it and hold our government accountable? We complain a lot. We loud. We ain't doing our part. We just need to do better as a people. We'll be right back.
Every day, countless Bahamians fall asleep hungry. But by working together, we can change this.
AML has committed $20,000 to provide nutritious meals for those in need during the holiday season.
As the holidays approach, help spread love and hope by supporting AML's 8th annual Feed 5000 program.
Donate today at any Solomon's, Fresh Market, Crossrite, Exuma Market, and Domino's Pizza.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bump into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday, you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
So what you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, Cora don't say nothing, but silence her hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll-free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them and the messages get all mixed up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
The Water and Sewage Corporation celebrates you this holiday season. Make your bills merrier and brighter with our exciting holiday promotion. Pay your bill in full between December 1st and 15th, 2023, and you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win amazing prizes. Simply visit any Water and Sewage Corporation location or our social media pages to find out more about the promotion and how you can participate. This holiday season, let us make your bills merrier and brighter. Happy holidays from the Water and Sewage Corporation.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. You can buy your local paper at Freeport Convenience Stores, Western Bakery, De Gregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Now is the time to reach your Grand Bahama market with affordable packages, including print and digital. Call GB News sales representative Kavandre at 822-6717 or message him on WhatsApp for ad rates. Classified ads are now available every Tuesday as well. Keep up with everything Grand Bahamian every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio AM. Again, this is C.A. Newry, and we have a discussion, and the theme of this statement is the problem in the Bahamas is Bahamians, right? When we get to fix ourselves, all the problem that we tend to face, that we seem to be being overwhelmed with, would be solved, right? Because we are not we're not policing the problems itself. We're just letting them happen. We see the problem and we just are letting the problem overwhelm us, right? And I'm talking about whose job it is to keep the government accountable. We've concluded that it's the people who vote them in job, keeping them accountable. And we're giving examples because we're concentrating on Abaco today based on another conversation we had. As Abaco see they have issues, right? But they voted in members of parliament, which they allow to say and do anything, right? Without addressing and fixing them. Mm-hmm. They let their local government not challenge the system, right? And then they complain to the central government and y'all need to do more when y'all are not doing enough.
And the question is, are they even complaining to the central government, or are they complaining to people in New Providence about the central government?
Yes. And then we have those people who prefer to call the talk shows and complain instead of be on the ground and correct the issues that they're facing.
I ain't going that far with you. What I will say, though, is we have people who call the talk shows upset, but so upset that they don't realize that they have an opportunity to devise a solution. That the very thing that they're begging for sits in front of them, and all they have to do is engage. We're not saying that we could solve the problem right here, but here's an opportunity for us to reason through all of the options that are available.
So let's talk some options, but you want to mention again about the housing crisis.
Right. So my position is, as always, this is not a migrant crisis. It's an administrative crisis that has caused a housing crisis and a migrant crisis and ignores what is a labor crisis. The question I put to you before we went to the break, to what extent does an unregulated tourism industry exacerbate this housing crisis? And here's what I mean. If it was top of this year or end of last year, we had a new taxation regime put in place to tax Airbnbs and short-term rental properties. We saw in that discussion the formation, I think, of association of small rental owners pop up. They were responding to a state action to regulate the small subsection of the tourism industry. I imagine that policy or that process was initiated from two separate sectors. One, finance, because they need money, so they look into tax everything. And two, the larger tourism space that said, hey, are these people competing unfairly? Is this unfair competition because those guys are avoiding or escaping the same taxes that we have to pay as large hoteliers? Now, that's all well and good. Stakeholders are allowed to engage. But in all of that, did somebody forget that as a small island developing state with limited housing inventory, particularly given that tourism is our number one industry, exacerbating the housing inventory even more, that we need firm regulations in place to protect Bahamians and potential homeowners. Bahamians who may not be able to purchase homes and may have to rent for the rest of their life because of the economic status of the country, and B, people who want to potentially own homes. Who protects the young person or the Bahamian that needs some place to live, but everything is priced out of their wage gap because tourism? Because I could make more money renting, I could make more money offering it to a potential tourist than providing access to a Bahamian that needs somewhere to live.
We soon run out of time.
And that's just New Providence. We didn't even get to the Family Islands yet.
We soon run out of time, and I always want to talk solutions.
Mm-hmm.
We had about two callers who raised their hand up in the heavens and said, we can't do nothing else. This is as good as it gets. We don't know what to do. What can we do?
Begin organizing. Stop. I mean, this is very simple. The political parties are not working for you. That's fine. You know why? Because they're political parties. You're not forced or obligated to vote for any of them. What you can do is you can begin organizing politically yourselves.
Okay, that's one. What else?
You can begin forming cooperatives, right? For people, because you got a text here, right? I will read that text. Let me get to it. From our friend, it says, my beloved CA and Lady Green, I don't usually disagree with you, but I am going to disagree with you today. Seasoned, experienced, skilled Bahamian men are now relegated to being security guards and officers just to honestly feed and provide for themselves and their families, are at least washing cars and or pressure cleaning. If folks would sometimes engage these Bahamian security men in conversation, you would feel some of their pain. So why are these skilled workmen that can't find anybody to hire them? Why have you not organized yourself and started a company?
Because it's anecdotal. I ain't paying no attention to that at all. It's anecdotal.
I pay attention because that's a regular text and caller. But you see what I'm saying?
If I'm a skilled man, I ain't going to wash no car. Because I ain't making the same type of money.
And here's a part of our problem. We don't want to work in organizations. We don't want a boss. We want to not go to work when we don't want to go to work. Sometimes you got to wait for people. You as one tradesman with maybe one helper, it doesn't matter how skilled or expert you are, your capacity to generate income is going to be limited by the size of your operation. But you don't want to work for nobody. And then you end up not getting any work at all to sustain yourself, and you got to pick up a security job, and then you realize the security people ain't following the law, and they got you working 12-hour shifts without overtime, and you don't have any time to ply your second trade.
Aaron, we're already on time. If we have time tomorrow, I want to talk solutions. Right?
But we talk solutions today,
I know.
Newry. I just want to say that we talk plenty solutions today.
But I want to flesh it out, right? Because I identified the problem that the Bahamians is the issue. And now we as Bahamians need to confront our issue with solutions. And I want us to give the listening audience solutions so they have no excuses.
We just did that.
Yeah, again, I want to do it again. So they don't have excuses because they call back and say, but I do everything already. You know? Anyway, it's 12 o'clock. We got to go to the news. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, y'all thought we was finishing. Yeah, y'all thought we was finishing.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.